Most guys who train calisthenics look fine. Not impressive, fine. Like there's muscle there, but nothing pops, nothing separates, the whole physique looks flat and kind of undefined, and after years of training, that stops making sense. You're doing the pull-ups, you're doing the push-ups, you're consistent. So why do you still look weak? 4 muscles. That's the answer. 4 specific muscles that almost nobody in the calisthenic space talks about. And they're the exact reason your physique looks like it's missing something even when you're putting in the work. Not your chest, not your biceps, not your core. 4 overlooked muscles that control how your entire body reads visually. Skip them and it doesn't matter how many reps you're doing, the look just isn't going to be there. I figured this out the hard way. 2 years of training, decent strength, but I'd take my shirt off and look average. Once I understood what these muscles actually do to your visual structure and started targeting them directly, the change was faster than anything else I'd tried. So let's get into all 4. The first one is the lower traps. Your trapezius muscle runs from the base of your skull all the way down to the middle of your back, and it has 3 sections, upper, middle, and lower. Upper traps are what most people accidentally overtrain. Every time you do a sloppy pull-up with your chin jutting forward and your neck working overtime, your upper traps are taking the credit, and when they get disproportionately developed compared to the lower section, your shoulders start creeping up toward your ears. Your neck disappears. Your whole upper body looks narrow and compressed, almost like you're permanently stressed out. The lower traps do the opposite. They pull your shoulder blades downward and anchor them flat against your back. When they're developed, you get a visible groove between your shoulder blades. Your chest opens up naturally. Your shoulders drop into place and sit wide instead of hunched. Posture that used to take effort just becomes your default. The best way to target this with zero equipment is the scapular pull-up. Dead hang from a bar, arms fully locked, and without bending your elbows at all, just pull your shoulder blades down. That's it. The range of motion is small, but the lower trap activation is direct. 3 sets of 10 before your regular pull-up work, and within 6 to 8 weeks, your upper back will look structurally different. Now that alone is going to change how you look standing still. But the next muscle is the one that actually separates guys who have a physique from guys who have an elite physique. The serratus anterior. Most people have never heard of this muscle, even fewer have intentionally trained it. It runs along the side of your rib cage, those finger-like striations you see just below the armpit on fighters, gymnasts, and anyone with a genuinely sculpted upper body. That carved, almost architectural detail on the side of the torso, that's the serratus. What it does visually is connect everything, your chest, your abs, your shoulder. Without the serratus, those muscles look like separate parts on the same body. No flow, no depth, no cohesion. With it developed, your entire torso looks like one continuous carved structure. It's the difference between looking like you work out and looking like you were built. Research on muscle activation shows the serratus is severely understimulated in standard push-up and dip variations. The reason comes down to a movement called protraction. The serratus is responsible for pushing the shoulder blade forward and rotating it outward. In a standard push-up, most people stop right before full protraction happens. That last inch at the top of the movement is exactly where the serratus fires hardest, and almost everyone skips it without realizing. The fix takes 2 seconds to apply. At the very top of every push-up, after your elbows are locked, push a little further. Let your upper back round slightly. Let your shoulder blades spread apart and push toward the ceiling. That extra inch of movement at the end is your serratus activating. You can also do serratus push-ups as a standalone drill. Start in a plank, arms fully locked, and without bending your elbows at all, just push your ribcage up toward the ceiling and lower it back down. Small movement, direct hit on the serratus. Add 3 sets of 15 into your warm-up and you'll feel this muscle within days. Before we move on real quick, if you're watching this and realizing your current program has never addressed any of this visual structure side of training, that's the gap. You can do 1,000 reps, but if the program isn't designed around how your body actually reads aesthetically, you're leaving a huge amount of results on the table. That's the reason I built the Aesthetic Calisthenics System, a full 12-week program structured specifically around building a Greek god physique from zero equipment. Visual proportion, muscle balance, the overlooked muscles, progressive overload with body weight. It's all in there laid out week by week. 12 weeks, no gym. Link is in the description if you want to check it out. Now, back to the muscles. The third one is obliques. And before you assume you're already training these, let me be specific about which part most guys are missing. There's a version of oblique training that actually makes your waist thicker. High rep Russian twists, heavy side bends. These hit the oblique in a way that adds bulk laterally, and that's not what you want. A thick waist makes your hips look narrower. Your V-taper disappears. You can be genuinely lean and still look blocky if this is off. What you want is the lower oblique, the section that runs diagonally from just above your hip bone toward your lower abs. That's the muscle responsible for the angled cut you see running from someone's hip into their shorts. When it's developed and your body fat is reasonable, it creates a visual taper from every angle. Front, side, three-quarter. It frames the entire lower torso. The best calisthenics movement to hit this specifically is the hanging oblique knee raise. Dead hang from a bar, bring your knees up as you normally would for a knee raise, but rotate them diagonally so they travel toward your opposite hip. You're combining a knee raise with a lateral crunch in the same movement. The lower oblique is working through the full range. 3 sets each side, 2 to 3 times a week. That's genuinely all it takes to start seeing that line develop. The last muscle is rear delts. And even if you've heard this before, the reason it matters visually goes further than most explanations get into. Your shoulder has 3 heads, front, side, and rear. In calisthenics, the front delt gets hammered constantly. Push-ups, pike push-ups, dips. Your anterior delt is involved in all of it. The side delt picks up some work here and there. The rear delt gets almost nothing. So over time, the front of your shoulder becomes overdeveloped relative to the back, and your shoulder starts rotating forward. Even with a well-developed chest, your shoulders tilt inward and your whole upper body reads as hunched. Your chest looks smaller than it is because it's being pulled into that forward position. The rear delt pulls the shoulder back into its correct position. When it's developed, you get a complete round shoulder that looks thick from every angle, not just from the front. That cannonball shoulder look that makes your arms appear bigger without your arms actually being bigger. It also directly improves how your chest sits and presents. With zero equipment, the prone Y-raise is the most direct option you have. Lie face down with your arms extended in a Y shape above your head, thumbs pointing upward. From there, raise your arms off the ground by squeezing your rear delts, and resist the urge to shrug your upper traps into it. Hold at the top for a count, then lower slowly. The load feels light, but the activation is high when the form is right. 3 times a week, 3 sets of 12 to 15, and in 4 to 6 weeks, your shoulder structure will look noticeably different from every angle. So, lower traps to fix your shoulder position and open up your upper back, Serratus Anterior for that 3-dimensional carved torso, lower obliques for the V-taper and the diagonal hip cut, and rear delts for balanced, complete shoulders that make everything else look better. These 4 muscles don't get the attention they deserve, but they're doing most of the visual work. Start training them intentionally, and you're going to notice a shift faster than you'd expect.